Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Microsoft Community Insight Podcast, where we share insights from community experts to stay up to date in Microsoft. I'm Nicholas, and I'll be host today. In this episode, we'll dive into AI at work in a theme of what does every developer need to know. Today, we have a special guest called Brian Swiger. Could you please introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, Brian Swiger. I'm a cloud and AI solution engineer at Microsoft. I've been with Microsoft for almost 10 years now. Live in the Tampa, Florida area. So those in and around Florida, hi. And yeah, I've been a developer most of my life. So across a lot of different technologies. So all kinds of different technologies. And love training and upskilling of individuals. So been in the certification space for about 15 plus years. As you can see, I've also been a Microsoft certified trainer for many years. So I like certifications, but they just help to drive learning. So it's a lot of fun there. So yeah.
Yeah, because I saw you in there, like you're like one of the exam development. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so I'm a content development manager. I worked across a lot of different exams, just either being a subject matter expert, writing items, as well as helping in the development of the exams. So I've been helping for many, many years, just trying to craft the exams. Long story short, I did an exam way back when, and I had a challenge actually by a coworker. Um, they pretty much said, that I didn't know my stuff because I wasn't certified,
Yeah.
and I just really felt that certification, at the time wasn't as advanced or worthwhile. So I went and I got the certification. It was a BizTalk certification back in the day, and I actually aced it. And I came back and said it was a waste of time because it was all the questions were multiple choice. They were all A, B, C, D. You
Yeah.
could kind of guess, eliminate two and guess between the other two. And I just hated it. So I put my name in to be a subject matter expert. And in this database at the time, it was a website, Microsoft had an app. And I got chosen to start writing exams. And I've been writing and developing exams ever since. So,
Okay, so you're one of the person to help like create the exam and then improving it, like whether
yep,
it's through the previous MCSA, MCSE, and Windows Server. Okay.
correct. Yep. Yeah, the old MCSD and
Yeah.
MCSE days. Yes, that was the days that I was taking exams and things like that. And of course, now we have various numbers like AI 102 is the
Yeah.
AI focused exam. AZ 204 is the Azure Developer. AZ 400 for like DevOps, things like that. So yeah.
So at what point when you were developing an exam, did you guys in your team have an idea of making it lab-based scenario? Because I know currently it's now lab-based and case studies.
Yep. Yeah, I've always wanted case studies and labs. So my thought process there, Worldwide Learning decided to make it more hands-on and engaging.
Yeah.
Um, I've always loved that concept. So I'm a certified Novell administrator from back in the Novell days. And even then, when you got a Novell certification or even the Cisco exams, you actually have to get hands-on with the technology. And that's what I loved about the whole lab experience is you actually have to do something. It's not
Yeah.
just a question and, regurgitating knowledge. It's very actionable and actually having to do something. So and the fact that we now have Azure to be able to host those labs. We have Azure Virtual Desktop, AVD, and the Azure infrastructure to be able to host those lab experiences. So I think that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah, because it's like fast forward to the present days. Now we have applied skills, which is quite
yeah,
an like a step up towards the exam, which is more of a lab-based scenarios as well. So you get
yeah,
to do once you do that, you get certified, so you know how to do uh like you have production environment, you know what to do in a real world scenario. So that's
yeah,
quite cool.
exactly. Yeah, and those are all done through Microsoft Learn. So if you go to microsoft.com/learn,
Yeah.
all kinds of free labs and modules and stuff. That's the other thing. The team expanded and has offered a lot of free learning in that area. So that's what I really like. Yeah.
Okay. So let's dive a little bit into your current role
Mhm.
as a principal solution like architect engineer. So
Yep.
what does your
Engineer.
day to
Yeah.
day what does your day to day comprise of?
I am in aligned to the retail and consumer goods area of
Yeah.
Microsoft. So I work with a lot of retail and consumer goods organizations. So a lot of quick serve restaurants, a lot of grocers, big box stores.
Okay.
So any of those areas that you've heard of, global brands, global, like I said, quick serve restaurants. So I work and I help solution with our teams, in terms of helping them to realize the benefits of Azure, as
Yeah.
well as, of course, AI, and the benefits of using Azure AI Foundry. That's kind of my key focus, is, on developing AI agents that really affect things like supply chain, inventory management, some of those other key aspects that, retail and consumer goods organizations, are concerned with. So, yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so you help them adopt into like
Mhm.
AI and then using the latest technology like AI Foundry to create agents or MCP, the current as well.
Yep, exactly.
That's
So,
like cool.
mhm. Yeah, essentially building proof of concepts, minimally viable product, demonstrating
Yeah.
what can be done, the art of the possible, and
Yeah.
showing them, what they can do with the technology to
Okay. Is
positively
there
affect.
do you see what kind of like case studies or proof of concept do you see more from customer? Is it just like a chatbot agent or
That's
just
for
to implement the AI into their environment as a consumer?
So a lot of the consumer experiences now are becoming down to, enhancing chatbots. I would say is kind of our bread and butter. That's pretty easy to
Yeah.
do. Chatbots. I literally can give you a GitHub repo that can show you how to pull down code that you can build your own chatbot. Chatting over data, providing it data context effectively in terms of doing, um, uh, you know, augmented generation, of the output,
Yeah.
and looking at that. Those kind of things are the default. I would say where we're seeing advancements is building multi-agent systems that affect, supply chain or inventory or key business aspects, even content generation for like marketing departments,
Yeah.
generate, images and content, copywriting and things like that. That's where we're seeing the key benefits is reducing individuals' time
Yeah.
to help out with those kind of things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
that's
I guess one of the scenario could be like helping them renew their contract for suppliers and stuff every year instead of manually have to go them. You can get agent to do it for you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can have any developing agents that communicate with one another or agents that act on behalf of individuals or processes. So what's nice is we have security around agents that can
Yeah.
identify themselves, so they're we understand from an auditing perspective exactly who did what. The agents are actually a who, from that security perspective as well.
Okay, so there's different type of agents, and you audit the agent as well as monitor it to see
Mhm.
what type of information is put into the from the agents.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, the agent can act autonomously, but still, you want to make sure that it has its own security and it has its own guidelines, and that you can audit and control the agent, in terms of security boundaries. So that was one of the biggest problems that we saw with model context protocol originally.
Yeah,
So, MCP, was the protocol that was came out from Anthropic and has been
yeah,
adopted by the industry. Really to give all these agents access to additional tooling. So we want to be able to plug into other areas, right? We want to access other systems or do things autonomously. But the problem was being able to authenticate and communicate securely with those systems. So MCP was actually ratified, I think, in April. Everything is evolving so quickly, but it was ratified in April to allow third-party IDP. So you can do Microsoft Entra ID or Okta or other third-party authentication to be able to do authentication authorization on behalf of an agent. So security was a big thing, and MCP has came a long way with that too. So
plus, you don't need to be using a Microsoft product to use Agent, because you can still use Agent locally, like Foundry Local, or build your own agent as well. So you don't have to be solely using Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased working for Microsoft. I'd want you to use Microsoft's technologies, but yeah, I mean, writing agents, in terms of technologies, you don't have to use. What's interesting is most of the frameworks that are out there, even Microsoft's own frameworks, are open source. So if you're looking at orchestration, semantic kernel is an orchestrator for agents, and it's open source. So it's not. It was birthed at Microsoft, and it's continued to be updated by the community, but it is open source software. So you don't have to leverage Microsoft specific technologies, but the ecosystem's there, including models. So models from OpenAI, models from Anthropic, models from XAI with Grok. So we have a multitude of models that are out there. Even Meta's Llama is out there in the Foundry that you can leverage from Azure AI's Foundry. We host just a plethora of models that are out there. So to me, models are interchangeable. Those are constantly evolving, and use the right model for the right context.
So how would you keep up to date with knowing what module needs to do what thing and update the code, because every time it doesn't change?
What's really nice is, back in the day, we're going to architect our systems with abstraction and interfacing, right? So we're going to abstract away essentially that model and being able to build a system that allows us to swap models out at any time. So we want to build in those abstractions and connectivity accordingly. So I would say, when you're architecting your systems, be able to swap in and out models and make that, plug and play. So there's always going to be newer models that come out that have new features. And, we've got new features even now with model routers. So there's built-in model routers and things of that nature that you can do abstraction. So, I would convince folks to architect with like APIs and API management and abstract out those model endpoints so that you can swap out, your models and get a better model in there if it makes sense for the, the business concern. So.
Yeah. So I guess one of the important thing is that you have to be up to date to see when the new models come, and then constantly changing to meet your demand and be able to use it according to like best practice and you create use cases on the module itself.
Exactly.
What are some of the best use case that you see modules used so far from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you talked about like chatbots, so chatting over data, providing it, user manuals or what have you. But I'm seeing a lot of organizations build chat interfaces that are leveraged across the entire organization. I see a lot of those even surfaced up through Microsoft Teams. So Teams being kind of that, that area that everybody's already chatting with one another, creating meetings and things like that. So they're augmenting it with agents inside of Teams, and they're building their own that interfaces to their own company's data and kind of surfacing that up through Teams. So I would say that's the biggest thing that I've seen, and that's just a chatbot experience. Imagine taking that to the next level and using these, probabilistic model calls to do things like evaluating whether or not we need to affect supply chain in a certain area based on trends or what have you. So being able to do maybe some pricing variations as well, based on trending data, or some of those type analyses, has been very, very beneficial as well. So the key aspect has been using it, in different business use cases where it makes sense. The biggest impact that I've seen, like, again, by default, the chatting experience, but I would say marketing, and generating marketing collateral or developing new design ideas, is also another area that I see a lot of use cases as well.
Yeah, because I normally think about using it when you can add values to a specific use case. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's reducing costs, improving security, helping
Yeah.
with code, like get rid of like unused code and stuff in your code repos and stuff. So that's because I'm in my workplace. We're trying to think about using it. So trying to find up
Mhm.
ideas where we can use it, whether use it in Azure DevOps, whether using it in Azure for security purposes to monitor Defender for cloud and stuff. So
Yeah.
I always think of things that could add values for your use case.
Mhm. One use case that's really neat that I see a lot of retail organizations developing and using. A lot of these models are multimodal now, so obviously
Okay.
they can recognize, audio and video and pictures and all of that. What I'm seeing is a use case where you walk in to a retail organization that has products on shelves, right? You take a
Yeah.
picture of that product, of that shelf, and the model and the analysis can understand how many products are on that shelf, do inventory of that shelf, and make sure it understands the actual layout of the product, and see if there's any competitor products on the shelves as well. So a lot of those retail use cases are already being, developed and used in stores and by individuals that are stocking shelves and stuff like that, so to save time.
Yeah. So in your experience, what are some of the uh, AI practice or things that every developer should know, like GitHub Copilot, AI Foundry?
I would say, I mean, I'm a developer many, many years. So,
Yeah.
uh, I love AI Foundry. It's, the central area in terms of the agent service, all
Yeah.
the AI models and things like that. But, we've got Copilot. Copilot's an overloaded term, I would say. So
Yeah.
think of Copilot as the UI for AI. Copilot is there across a lot of different products. You got Copilot in Excel and Word, but we also have M365 Copilot that's effectively going to be able to do graph calls. So it'll be able to read, your email. If you want it to reach out and read your Teams chats and compile all that information together. So M365 Copilot's good for that use. Then you get into Copilot Studio, is built on the low code, no code type platform. So it's built on Power Platform, and you can leverage that to build agents as well. So you can plug into a lot of different systems. And then you get into AI Foundry, where you're deploying the models, doing analysis, governance, evaluation, monitoring, tracing, all the fun stuff. I'd say as a developer, we get our hands dirty,
Yeah.
but that's where it gets really fun. But Copilot, as an overloaded term, I just want to make sure it's like the UI of AI, but it's iStick and Foundry. So for me, it's leveraging custom code, and semantic kernel, maybe as an orchestrator. There's other orchestrators that are out there, but leveraging custom code. And I'm a C# developer, Java, what language that you use. C# my main one, but developing custom agents with models deployed inside of Foundry.
Yeah. Because I know that everything tend to now be in VS Code. So there is
Yeah.
AI Foundry Toolkit, AI Foundry, there's AI Toolkit, there's probably C# extension. So all you need to do is have your have VS Code really, and you just do what you do best, like program, stay in that interface mode, and just maybe use Copilot to help you in agent mode or
Yep.
or
Yeah.
sometimes use AI Foundry.
Yep. Exactly. And you're mentioning, of course, from a developer perspective, the best Copilot, in my opinion, is GitHub Copilot.
Yeah,
That allows you to, essentially do, vibe coding. So, prompting it to allow you to write unit tests or write, code for you. So GitHub Copilot, built into VS Code. But to your point, we've got a lot of extensions in VS Code. Even Semantic Kernel has an extension out there, GitHub Copilot, of course, that I'm talking about, the Azure AI Foundry extension, and other extensions to help you, build AI solutions and AI agents.
yeah. So I know recently there is GitHub Beast Mode. So for the latest VS Code Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, have you used it before, or have you used Agent Mode or the new Agent Mode Beast Mode?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
what's your opinion on it?
I think agent mode's working really well. I love the fact that you can choose different models in there. I've been using the Claude Sonnet models mostly.
Yeah,
I see a lot of success with the Claude Sonnet 4 model in my experimentation. That it depends on the scenario. The best model for that. But yes, agent mode. Huge fan of agent mode. I use agent mode all the time, whether it be to, like I said, write my unit tests, build MCP integrations. What's really nice too is it has MCP connectivity. So you can actually use agent mode to write code that would say interface and do things inside of Azure itself. So we have an Azure MCP server that you can plug into and other MCP servers to do that connectivity to other systems. So it worked really
yeah,
well.
yeah. I think you wanted to show us some cool demos, Brian,
Yeah,
regarding anything really. So AI Foundry or the new GitHub Copilot. So looking
sure.
forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go ahead and show a couple different things, starting with essentially AI Foundry. I talk about AI Foundry and all the fun models and things like that. So let me go ahead and show my screen real quick.
You could tell us a little bit of vibe coding because I heard lots of like terms on it. Everyone like since Microsoft build is all talking about vibe coding, but it's from my understanding, it's just a way of like create a product with using AI, but
Yes,
not other teams as quick as much as possible.
yeah, and it's essentially using VS Code, and doing prompting. So, I mean, if you're looking at here's VS Code, I have VS Code up and running. Down here in the lower right, I've selected the Claude Sonnet 4 model.
You,
I'm using GitHub Copilot. This is effectively, you mentioned agent mode. So I'm actually going to
yeah,
change it over to agent mode. I'm currently at defaults to ask. So here's
yeah,
agent.
you may have to zoom in a little bit, Brian,
Zoom in a little
just
bit.
for others to see. Yeah.
Okay, let me here. For some reason, it's
So
not.
while he's zooming in, I've
Yeah.
got a question. How would someone know the difference between using different modules and the pricing stuff? Because someone can be using ChatGPT 4, but but concerned about it might cost more if using ChatGPT 5, the latest one.
Well, different models are going to cost different amounts, and it's usually
Yeah.
based on tokens. So
Okay.
you think of a token as the number of characters that you're going to send to and from the model. It's typically around 4 letters. So think of 4 letters is one token, and
Yeah.
tokens are input and output from the model. So as you're doing the communication with a large language model, you have input and output from that model, and that is essentially how they're charged. But usually there's a large amount you might get. I don't know the exact pricing on all of the
Yeah.
areas. I could look up pricing, but you usually get a lot of tokens initially, like 1 million tokens or something. to be able to communicate with that model. But yes, depending on how much you ask it and the context that you provide that you're going to send it, size of the prompts, etc., that's how it's going to determine how many tokens it's going to use.
Yep, and you may need to upgrade from the free tier if you're using it, so you may have to use the enterprise tier to get more of a token.
Exactly. Yep. And you even have access to GPT-5, which just debuted, recently from OpenAI. And I'm still experimenting with GPT-5 to see what my, how my prompts are working and see how good, the responses are. But I mean, effectively, you put it into agent mode and you're going to, prompt it to do something. So you could say, hey, effectively build me, a brand new application in ASP.NET, or, create an MCP server. You could literally just type all those various things. That's what I was doing previously. I actually prompted it, help me build a Power BI dashboard that connects to Azure SQL. And can you show me, how to set up an Azure function that processes data from blob storage? So you might ask it, essentially those things, and it's going to literally think and write the code for you, and be able to actually generate that code and add that code to your project. So it's able to code for you, and be able to add that code directly right into your project as you go. So that's kind of how it works. And again, you can change models accordingly and see the different output that you get and the type of code that you get as well.
Yeah. So the information you will get is based on how good your prompt is. So the more of your context you put in the agent, the more of a result you get. And then as a developer, you would just be wary of your important information, like your secrets and stuff. So all of these are code it's like public code. So it's still, and it's just structure read it. So it's the context that you give it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and you can add additional context. So if you had additional context that you wanted to provide, and again, you could even connect, as I mentioned, to various MCP servers. I've added in, I have an MCP JSON file, so I configured some of the MCP connectivity. So, there's various MCP servers that I have here, including, the documentation. So we have actually an MCP server that connects to Microsoft Docs, Playwright if you're doing, UX testing, Brave Search. So there's a lot of different MCP servers that you can connect to. Again, even Azure's MCP server. One thing I do want to note is we actually do have, the MCP Center. If folks are not familiar with this, it's mcp.azure.com. We actually
I think that's new because I'm not aware of that. I know that there's a GitHub repo. I never knew that there's a site on it.
Yeah, so this might be brand new to a lot of people. This is the MCP Center. This gives you, it's essentially powered, you can see in the upper left, by API Center. So API Center is a new product, or newer product, I should say, is a part of API management. So API Center allows you to organize and catalog and all of your APIs. But this is a MCP server, shows you all the various MCP servers that have been published, and you can access them. So you'll see, a Playwright, like I talked about, for testing purposes. Here's Microsoft Learn if you're looking to connect to documentation. Again, here's Stripe. GitHub, Azure DevOps, Azure's MCP server. Here's Box. So there's various MCP servers that are already here and published. And of course, you could develop your own MCP server, run it locally, host it where you'd like. But these are some MCP servers that are published out here if you want to connect your agents up to them, including Atlassian here at the bottom. I didn't mean to.
So, but some of these MCP servers, it's not Microsoft MCP, like Atlas, Box, Stripe. So I take it these are like partners MCP, able to put their product here as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So these are partner MCP servers. Yeah, exactly.
So, so it reminds me of like Microsoft Marketplace. So similar to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, except for MCP. Yeah, exactly. So model context
Nice.
protocol and connectivity from, leveraging it from, Anthropic it came out with model context protocol. Yeah.
Nice. So I guess the best way is just to try on each of them, and
Mhm.
then it will go to the GitHub repo and just install it and just play around with it, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
work out which is best for your use case to use.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Depending on your
Because
use case. Yeah.
I know that there's quite a lot. There's even one for Docker as well. So
Mhm.
Docker MCP, yeah. So it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite. But okay, so let's talk about how you can secure an MCP, because I saw some information that you can actually secure it using APIM management.
Yes,
Uh,
that's correct. So
could
there
we
are
talk
ways.
about that? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's like how does that work using APIM?
So API management actually allows you to catalog and connect to your MCP servers. Like I was
Yeah.
talking about earlier, you can effectively authenticate, with your MCP server. So when you're hosting it, we talked
Yeah.
about third-party security or third-party IDP identity providers, such as Microsoft Entra ID, so that it allows you with API management, so you're cataloging and referencing your MCP server, but you're also able to authenticate with that third-party IDP. So your identity
Okay.
provider is allowing you to do an intra authentication before you actually connect to the MCP server. So your entire connectivity back to these MCP servers are fully secured. So the communications
Okay.
are
Yeah,
secured.
it's like an identity. Okay.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. We actually have an
Uh,
example that shows API management with MCP integrations. I can bring that one up too. I didn't have that one ready 100%, but I can bring that up
uh,
too. Yeah. But yeah, we have examples that show that integration, and there's tons of
Yeah,
open
because I
source.
think today when I went on API management, I can
Mhm.
see there's a feature called MCP there. It's like the built-in feature. So I'm
Yep.
not sure because that's the way Microsoft is going to it, the secured MCP now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's API management has that. So to be able to, essentially expose and govern, those MCP servers. So that's the objective there.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's curious. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about upskilling and stuff. So what's the best way to get started with all these agents and MCP? Because sometimes it's scary because it's fast moving of AI. Every time it's changing new modules. So
Yeah.
how would you keep up to date with those
The,
changes?
the biggest thing I can always tell folks is get hands on. So, get a free Azure subscription, get hands on with AI Foundry. Try out some of the samples as well. GitHub has a lot of example projects that are out there that can
Yeah.
show you how to do a lot of these things, especially even MCP, A to A, which is, Google it's agent to agent protocol, which the industry is adopting as well. So A to A, there's a lot of great examples that are out there in terms of the projects. But another area is Microsoft Learn. So Microsoft, I keep referencing that,
Yeah.
Microsoft.com/learn. There's a lot of free resources out there in terms of learning modules to teach you all these various concepts. So no money involved. You just access that site, go through the various Learn content. That's what I love about it. You can learn about all these various concepts right out there on the Learn site. GitHub, like I mentioned, there are various GitHub projects that are out there. Even the new A to A .NET SDK. So we have a software development kit for .NET developers around agent to agent protocol. So it's a .NET library that helps you to build those integrations and have agents talk to each other with cards and all that.
So
So yeah.
Sometimes I hear a lot about A2A and MCP. Can you talk about the difference between those two and how it's different?
Sure. Think of MCP, Model Context Protocol, as a way to plug into other systems. They always say it's the USB of
Yeah,
agent.
USB-C. Yeah.
Yeah, USB. So you're taking and taking that agent and it's able to plug into other systems and do things. So communicate with those systems. If you want it to plug in to Azure DevOps, for instance,
Yeah.
uh, and create an issue or create something on the Kanban something on the Kanban board, you can have it do that with MCP. Agent to agent is if you're building multiple agents that are acting autonomously. So you have one agent that might do one thing in terms of gathering data from documentation or reading documentation. You might have another agent that's acting on the behalf of the user to actually submit or even interact with the computer. So a computer use agent. So those two agents need to talk to each other and share information. That is what A to A or agent to agent protocol is doing. So it's communicating and able to allow communication between agents. MCP allows an agent to plug into other systems and
Okay.
integrate with those other systems. Yeah.
So so how would you know which is the best to use? Because at the
Well,
moment everyone's leaning towards
yeah,
MCP, but
they're
you can
not.
still use agents if that's your use case.
You're going to use both. So it's not a best, it's not a either or. So if you're
Yeah.
building multi-agent systems, you're going to use A to have them talk to each other. If you're going to use external systems that the agents need to talk to, you're going to use MCP. So you're going to use both protocols depending on how you engineer architect your system. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So let's talk about a little bit of like some of because I remember you said you're a grandmaster sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, there's another organization known as Grandmasters.
yeah.
I work with them. That's the company that actually develops exams.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked with the founder Lisa Kriesler for years,
Yeah.
and Lisa's awesome, and her organization helps develop exams. And I've been a content development manager there, and subject matter expert and working on exams for many years. So I help her and her organization to develop exams, and we've done exams all across the gamut in terms of technologies and areas. But yeah,
Is it just tech exam or you do different type like Power BI, different kind of exam in Microsoft?
different types of exams depending on technology area. So for me, as a content development manager, it'd be different types of exams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be full gamut in terms of technologies. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be like getting feedback from learners and how you can improve the contents, way that you can do it better, and whether it's do more of a illustration or more of a case studies.
Yeah, constantly updating the exams. So the exams
Yeah.
are constantly updated. Making sure they're relevant, that they're testing the right things, that they're testing the
Yeah.
right cognitive level. Exams ought to be value add to the experience and advance your skills. They shouldn't just be show up and throw up. I would say in terms of memorizing things, it should be applied knowledge and
Yeah.
not just memorization. So a lot of the exams are actually what I'd say open book, depending on the exam. So you can actually, during the exam, access the Microsoft Docs site. So if you're taking a Microsoft exam, you can actually open up a tab and access the Microsoft Docs site as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the ways that you can do is making it more of a lab-based scenario than have a little bit
Mhm.
multiple choice, because multiple choice people can just assume it's 50-50. You can get
Yep.
questions, but they
Yeah.
want to use more of a lab scenarios like to do things hands-on than that. That's why I prefer to do that.
Exactly.
Because
I completely agree with you. Yeah. The lab scenarios are the best, and I love hands-on and applied knowledge that way. So I completely agree. Yeah.
But it could be like whenever people completed applied skills, you're 50% ready for like exam because you
Yeah.
got the practical experience from that.
Exactly, and you learn a lot more, being hands on like that. I feel, actually doing it, and you learn, what not to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Fail fast, as they say. But yeah, when you get hands on, sometimes it's, you learn a lot more. Yeah.
So any last minute advice has for anyone that's new into AI or for like developers that not started their journey into using agents or MCP yet in their organization?
I would say I know the space is moving fast. It's a lot to learn. Things have changed, even in the last 6 months to a year. Models are constantly evolving. I think we're getting the space together in terms of the protocols coming together. But I would say from a learning perspective, leverage the resources I talked about, get hands on. And experiment, try different things. Kick the tires on some of the frameworks that are out there. And you're going to see a lot of advantages, in leveraging AI at various areas. So the low hanging fruit, chatbots, chatting with LLMs, and retrieval augmented generation, RAG chatbots. I mean, we could do those in 5-10 minutes. Like I said, we got a GitHub library or GitHub project for that. Um, it's the real power comes into affecting business processes like supply chain, inventory, some of the key concerns with multimodal that I mentioned. But
Yeah,
leverage, get hands on, just get hands on
because
with it.
yeah. Plus, nowadays, Microsoft make it easier that you don't need to be an AI engineer to know
Mhm.
use AI. Anyone like can use it, even like your family or less anyone that's non-technical can easily use AI as
Exactly.
well.
Yeah, with Copilot for sure. Yeah, M365 Copilot. Leveraging that, just asking it questions. Absolutely. Yeah.
No worries. So, as this episode is coming to an end, we always love to get to know our guests. So, do you have any hobbies or things that you do in your spare time, Brian?
I've been since I was a kid. I've been a gamer, a computer gamer. So I used to play competitive Quake. So id Software was one of my favorites. John Carmack, was the founder of first-person shooters.
Okay.
He was my inspiration to become a computer programmer back in the day. So
So
I
it's just
played
like it's mostly uh online gamer, or is it like console like Xbox, PS4?
everything. Yeah, everything. I mean, obviously, a little bit biased towards Xbox, but I
Yeah,
love PlayStation has great exclusives. I'm a gamer through and through. I love my Switch. Nintendo, Nintendo has been fantastic in the gaming area.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm a gamer, I would say. I love video games. That's what really got me inspired into computers in the first place. I wanted to build video games, but instead I build line of business apps, and now I build AI apps. So yeah, it's been a lot of
Okay,
fun.
what makes you want to switch then? Because before your vision want to make video games. Is it
My
because
Yeah, so a lot of my friends got into it. I had a lot of friends that worked for Blizzard.
yeah,
Um, a company actually got acquired. Blizzard acquired their company, and it became Blizzard North, and they built the Diablo series. So I had friends that worked in video games. They just worked and worked and worked. They worked so many hours. They didn't have lives outside of their work. I
wow,
wanted to have get married, have a family. I have two boys, and do other things outside of
yeah.
video games, and I didn't want to make it not fun anymore. I think if I built video games, they wouldn't be as fun anymore. So I looked at that, and that's how I pivoted into
Yeah.
becoming a computer programmer. Uh,
Yeah, because
yeah,
to be honest, you make it sound it's going to be more stressful. It's not working life balance and stuff. So
yeah,
you'd be
I mean,
constantly challenging each other about gaming, like
mhm,
stats and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it's okay to have your hobby, but
yep.
there's a time you need to stop. So it's always good.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, because I kind of like playing Wii as well. So like Mario
Yep.
Kart and Switch, and playing
Same
like
here.
Call of Duties and like playing with PS4 and stuff.
Yep.
But it's all
I love
good
it
because
all.
you like you have your gaming headset, you can talk to people and just shoot people
Yep.
virtually. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all fun.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, so aside from your hobbies playing game, do
Mhm.
you do you and do you go to like much events like Microsoft events, community events?
I used to attend. I actually spoke at Ignite a couple different times. I do go to various events locally. We have a .NET
Yeah,
user group and Azure user group. I used to run with a friend of mine, Matt, in Omaha. I used to run the .NET user group in Omaha, Nebraska. So I love community events,
yeah,
supporting community events. But yeah, I mean, I love all of that. I've spoke at various events as well.
nice. So which event is you think it's your best, or you don't have a best?
I would say Microsoft Build. I mean, if I had to pick, um,
Is it because more developer hands-on, or like
yeah,
with
more
the
developer hands-on focus. More from directly from the engineering groups and things like that. As a gamer, I'm going to be a little biased, and I would say BlizzCon. So, as a Blizzard gamer, I'd say BlizzCon out in Anaheim. That's my favorite convention or area as well.
yeah, but I'm not sure if you win, you get like a free game or free console for
Yeah, that
that.
would be cool. Yeah,
They give you a ring like a world competition, like
yeah,
for online gaming.
yeah,
Okay, that's quite cool.
yeah.
I take it, yeah, because I know I work at Microsoft Build and they have mostly open hack and lab
Hmm.
based and stuff. So I think that might be more of a even if it was developer conference, but more to hands-on that than uh Microsoft conference like Microsoft Ignite, which is coming on like a
Yep.
few months time.
Yeah, I think November, correct? I have to look up the
Yeah,
date. Sometime in November.
yeah. San Francisco. Yeah,
Yes,
it's just,
correct. Yeah.
are you going to be there, or are you going to be
Um,
speaking, or are you going to be
I'm gonna
helping?
try. I'm gonna say I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I always try. It depends on customer engagements and things of that nature, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah, you can say you meet customers, meet partners, and
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
for feedback and stuff. You twist it, so I know what to do. Yeah, so I probably will see there if I get there because
cool.
it's at San Francisco. It's quite a little bit more of a journey than Seattle when I normally
Hmm.
go there. So it's 11 hours from London, so
Yeah,
not bad from direct like a direct flight.
hmm. Yeah. That's a long flight, though. That has to be quite a long flight.
Yeah, so
But
I think that's the best. I guess we'll just have to need to sleep on the flight, or just I should have take a stopover because stopover mean you can rest a little bit and then continue the flight.
yep, yeah, yeah. It's even a long flight for me. Coming from Tampa, Florida, so I think it's a good 6 hour flight to the west if I did a nonstop flight.
Oh, whoa. So almost the same distance, but half the distance. Wow,
Hmm.
because the other
Yeah.
way is quite far.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's speak about a little bit about the community. So when did you get started with the community, your journey? So is it when you were young?
Yeah, I mean, when I started out, pretty much around when .NET was just becoming a thing.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
you yeah, there was a gentleman named uh, Philip Wolf that started the .NET community in
Yeah.
Omaha and the local meetups. And then Matt Rui and I took over that user group. And that's really where I got into the user group scene. And we also had the Heartland Developers Conference, HDC, that we ran with a buddy of ours, Joe. And we actually had Scott Guthrie show up. So Scott
Nice.
actually presented in Omaha, and we had several folks that would present at this conference as well. But we, always participated in the local community. I participate here locally as well in the Tampa community.
Yeah.
Or I have a friend of mine, Joe, that also works at Microsoft. That was a big speaker in the community scene. He was with our dev advocacy group, and would speak locally as well. That's where I met Joe. So Joe and I would speak and handle those local community events as well.
Okay. Are you still organizing events in that user group?
No, other individuals have taken over the user group and continue to drive it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I've been too busy to help in local events. I've just been disconnected, I would say, from the events locally. I need to get back out in the community and helping out there. We also have a group at Microsoft that are the dev advocates that do a
Yeah.
lot of those speaking engagements as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even if, like, for example, you still get busy, you can still do it once so
Oh yeah.
occasion when you're free just to
Yep.
help. Once,
Yeah.
whether it's behind the scene, and so because
Yep.
everyone, like, I know every situation, everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
You might get busy at times, but once a while, just helping behind the scene, it's always helpful.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And
Absolutely.
then you'll be getting your community spirit back and as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's quite cool.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Brian, for coming on this episode. So it's amazing to know a bit about your journey into like AI and some of the scenario that people can use AI with as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And,
It's been a great
and
discussion.
also, yeah, and anyone wants to know about gaming, you can speak to Brian and he probably can hook you up. So yeah, free cancel maybe if you win.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I don't know about that, but yeah.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. See you next time.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nicholas.